Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Girl Be Free podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan, where I'm going to inspire and motivate you to show up for yourself. This week, I'm loving the song Soulmate off of Lizzo's new album titled 'Cause I Love You. First of all, I love the whole album, but this song in particular, I feel like it's like the self-care anthem. And I'm going to read the chorus to you, but I definitely want you to go and take a listen for yourself, and hopefully you like it as much as I do. And the chorus says, "'Cause I'm my own soulmate, I know how to love me. I know that I'm always going to hold me down. Yeah, I'm my own soulmate. No, I'm never lonely. I know I'm a queen, but I don't need no crown." And I just love it because it reminds you to not put expectations in others to make you happy, and you can find the joy inside yourself and take care of yourself without needing someone else to affirm and validate you. So I love it. I definitely recommend go checking it out. I'll link to the song in my show notes. And then also, if you've listened to the album or the song, definitely hit me up on IG and let me know at BeFree Project, and we can share our love for the album together. All right, today's topic is check your thoughts. And I was scrolling through my episodes of what I recorded so far on the podcast. And I'm like, I've never done an episode on thoughts and negative thoughts and limited beliefs. I probably mentioned it on another episode, but as far as like a whole topic around it. So I wanted to talk about this because I feel like our limited beliefs is what keeps us most stuck. I'm reading a few books right now, and I've been talking about You Can Heal Your Life. Um, for a few episodes, which is a really great book by Louise, and it's really all about doing the mindset work. So I really just want to share some practical things that you can do and just to be mindful of, because your thoughts, the limited beliefs, will hold you back and keep you stuck. So you have to figure out a way to shift your thoughts so that you can embrace more positive thinking. And so you have to be aware of like the thoughts that float through your mind day in and day out. And I read somewhere once that we have an average of 50,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. And if those thoughts are always self-sabotaging or negative and limiting to you, then how are you going to grow? And so some of your limited beliefs can be something like, I'm too old, I'm too stuck, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, love is not for me, I might fail, I'll be rejected. I mean, seriously, I can go on and on. And these beliefs that have been passed down from you, maybe from parents, maybe from jobs that you went to, maybe from school, like you're carrying on these limited beliefs and they're preventing you from really growing, and you're stagnant in your life because of what you believe about yourself. And if you're really honest, are those beliefs really factual? Right? And if you've been holding on to them for so long, it's going to take some work to begin to shift that thinking. I will say a belief that I've held on, I don't have it so much, but it will pop up here and there, is me not feeling good enough. And I have to remind myself on a daily basis that I am more than good enough, right? I'm good enough already. And I have to say those affirmations to remind me that I'm not who I'm perceiving myself to be, right? So in that moment of feeling discouraged, I have to really shift the way that I think and empower myself by saying, no, you're more than good enough. No, you are good enough right now where you're at, period. And so you probably are like me, where you have these limited beliefs about yourself that you really got to dig deep and identify and acknowledge what they are, and then begin to replace them with something positive to begin to affirm yourself. I will say that it's not an overnight process, right? It takes time to change. And I probably say this almost every episode. You have to embrace the change and be kind to yourself. And that's something that I'm learning to do, because I keep getting um, messages from other people like, be more kind, stop being so hard on yourself. And so as I am hearing that, I want to share that as well, because I'm sure there's Girl Be Free listeners that need to be more kind. So be mindful and shift when you become aware of your thoughts. So when you find yourself putting on some clothes and they are not fitting the way that you feel, and then you start thinking, oh my goodness, I'm so fat. No, I look good in my clothes, right? Or I feel good in my body. And even if you don't feel it, like, still shift your thinking until you can believe that. And then, of course, if you're not comfortable with the way that you look, then what are some things that you can put in place so that you can start to feel better? But it starts with your mind. So you first have to shift your thinking, and then you have to start putting things into action so you can become, the woman that you desire to be. I don't want you to allow your negative thoughts to consume you. And trust me, I know what that feels like, where just allowing thoughts to just fester and fester and fester, and it's hard to shake yourself out of it. So you have to, now that we're having this conversation, I should say, is when you notice that you have these negative thoughts, you have to quickly shift them to something positive. It is work. It's a retraining of your brain, but it's definitely possible. And I'm speaking that from experience. So I'm not just talking about something I read or anything like that. Like, I have done a really, really good job of shifting my thoughts. And now, and I'm going to share some things towards the end, but um, now that I am more aware, I have things that I can do right away when I notice that negative thoughts are popping up in my head. So don't repeat these negative, limited beliefs anymore, right? Because they're not serving you. Anything that's not serving you and helping you grow and evolve into the woman you desire to become, it has to go. Otherwise, you're going to stay stagnant and you're not going to be able to blossom in the way that you desire and you deserve to be, right? So create a positive mantra that you can recite often. Whenever you feel yourself like slipping down, back into this space that you don't want to be in, what is a positive mantra that you can repeat over and over again? That can be an affirmation, it can be a quote, some positive statement that will get you back to a really, really good space. I like to say, and I've shared this before, there's a quote by Ruby D that says, I'm not who I'm going to be, I'm always becoming, right? And then, of course, I recite affirmations every single day, just to remind myself of who I am. And it's really, really helpful. I've been listening to affirmations as well, and that has been really soothing for me. So I want you to repeat affirmations okay, so just think about any negative limited belief that you're holding on to that doesn't serve you, and you know what they are. I want you to have affirmations that you can recite in replace of those negative thoughts. So whatever those negative limited beliefs are, have something positive to say. I have the Girl Be Free affirmation cards, which is a deck of 31 cards with different affirmations to help you affirm who you are. They all center around self-love, self-care, wealth, mindset, and all that jazz. And you can get them at girlbefree.com. The link will be in the show notes, but I highly recommend that to start shifting your thoughts and replacing them with something positive. You start affirming the woman you want to become. And I think the affirmation cards are really cool because you can keep them in your purse, you can keep them at your desk at work, you can pass them out to friends, whatever feels good to you. But I definitely think that that is a good start. So again, I'll link to the Girl Be Free affirmation cards in the show notes. And then every morning, I want you to choose how you're going to feel. Don't allow the day to, or don't allow what happens in the day to determine how you're going to show up. No, you set the tone, the intention when you wake up. Like, this is how I'm going to feel today. And let that be in your mind as you move throughout the day. And then lastly, practice gratitude. I talk about gratitude all the time, and I've been really doing it more often out loud. So not just writing it in my journal, but throughout the day, like, I'm so grateful for my home, or I'm grateful that I get to go to the gym. I'm grateful, for my children. I'm grateful for doing work that brings me so much joy. I'm grateful for, hosting this Girl Be Free retreat that's happening later on this year. Like, I'm grateful for so many different opportunities and experiences that I'm having just because. So definitely make sure that you're practicing gratitude, whether you write down things that you're grateful for in your journal. Saying it out loud is very powerful. Recording yourself, practicing gratitude, listening to yourself. I think all of that is really, really beautiful. So, some things that work for me when it comes to checking my thoughts, I have positive self talk with myself. So, whenever I notice that I am teetering in a way where it's not going to be a good space, and I'm just letting my emotions, I guess, be an overload, because I've been doing the work, the self work, the inner work that I talk about, I'm able to acknowledge it really quickly. And so I'll have a talk with myself. I'm like, nope, we're not doing that today. That is not what we're going to do. We're going to love ourselves. We're going to treat ourselves kindly. Like that is the type of conversation that I have to have with myself. And then another thing, what works for me is paying attention to my thoughts and being self-aware. And I notice that the more that I'm growing, the more that I'm able to do this. So I'm very self-aware, and I talked about this, I believe, on IG Live, where, um, you know how Oprah talks about like that little voice inside is like a whisper. Well, now because of the work that I'm doing to grow, that voice is getting a little bit louder, and then I pay attention to it, and it can be for the smallest thing, because I need my intuition, my soul, my body, all of that to know like I'm listening, I'm paying attention, so that if I pay attention to the small things, then the little things that I'll be more in touch with that. And so that has been really helpful, to really listen to my internal voice, that and allowing it to guide me has been really helpful. And then lastly, I guard my thoughts by what I consume. So whether I'm following people on social media, I don't follow any negativity or anything like that. I don't consume a lot of stuff on TV. I watch Netflix and stuff like that on the weekends. And I'm just really mindful about the energy and everything that I consume, because I know it will impact me in some way, shape, or form. I'm not saying this is for everyone. I'm just talking about myself, and then hopefully something that I share will resonate with you. Especially what's most important is that the people that I have around me, I'm not surrounded by any negative energy or anybody that's toxic. Everybody that's in my life, they're there because I want them there, and they add value to my life in some way, shape, or form. And I talked about this in a prior episode about making sure you have the right people around you and how to have the right type of friends. So I can't remember what it's titled, but if you just scroll back through the episodes, because there's so many at this point, you'll definitely find it. And then lastly, create positive spaces for yourself. So I know typically what I hear from women is that, they at their job, like there's a lot of negative energy. So you have to kind of cultivate this space for yourself where you have your affirmations at your desk, you have your journal, you have maybe some positive quotes, candles, if you're able to burn sage, crystals, things like that. Set up your space in a way that will bring positive vibes. And then lastly, if the issue is at work, you don't have to hang out with negative people. You're choosing to do that. So maybe you go to lunch by yourself, or maybe you go to your car and hang out and read a book or something like that. But if people at your job are negative, and that is where you're consuming that type of energy, then you're going to have to switch things up and shift it, and that's okay. It's not like you're acting funny or anything like that, but you have to protect you first at all times. And so whatever space, that applies to any spaces that you're in. If it's negative, limit yourself as much as possible, so that way you can focus on, you know, growing, and evolving in your life. So that's what I have for you today. I'm going to share an action step, which is actually, I just gave it to you. Eliminate negativity in your life as much as possible and create positive spaces for yourself. And just be intentional with doing that. And then and then lastly, I do want to say, find books, find podcasts, find maybe documentaries, TV shows, anything that can make you, that makes you feel good. Try to have more of that in your life. And even if you have to clean up your social media and unfollow, unfriend people who are, where it's always drama or negativity, do that. Right now you're in a space of growing and becoming the best you. So clear up these spaces where they're not adding value to your life. As always, of course, I thank you so much for listening. If you're enjoying this podcast, please snap a picture of it, share it anywhere that you hang out on social media, and just tag me at BeFree Project so I can see it. I would love for you to click this episode's webpage or what have you and leave a comment about your key takeaway from the show. That will be so great. I'll definitely respond. And then lastly, make sure you're following me on IG at Be Free Project. Every week I go live. So it's just a way to take the podcast to the next level and really get a chance to engage with you ladies. So thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, girl, be free.